Shalom, family. Glory be to God and blessed be the Lamb forever and ever. Preliminary matter, autonomy. A gentleman through a line of give and take and back and forth. I was forced to question my own individuality and autonomy as it pertains to the Creator. I thought I forgot. No, we don't forget. It just takes us a minute to get back at you. There is scripture that will support what I'm about to say next. And what I'm about to say next is I have no autonomy. God said to me, after me saying to him, it's a mighty big task. I could butch things up. You know how you 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 know how we are. We can be temperamental, impatient, and I don't really love them. Not like you love them. And God replied that whatever you do is in order, which scared the hell out of me, which actually scared me even more. You couldn't scare me. But but when God speaks, he can kind of scare you. I forget sometimes that when he makes these types of statements, he's already thought it all the way through. So that scripture would be, on the day of judgment, there will be many that will stand before God and say, did not I serve thee? Did, did not I honor thy name? Worship thee? Have honors and festivals in your name? Build churches in your name? Statues and monuments in remembrance of your name? And Jesus will say, get away from me. I never knew you. The second scripture would say this. Jesus will say, he will look over at the Father and say, Father, you know what I have said. For I could only have said what you yourself have put in my heart. I said no such thing. You know I said no such thing because of what you have put in my heart. What is in my heart is the word and the truth. I said so. I said no such thing. Anyway, the short answer, sir, I have no autonomy. Now, God wouldn't like me reaching such a conclusion. He would say, yes, you do. Say, Father, I hadn't thought this one through. I hadn't thought it through. I don't see where I have any autonomy. And he'd say, back to work. At any rate, ladies and gentlemen, we're at a crucial moment in America. Crucial. Both on a political level and a spiritual level. This election is unlike any election that I've ever witnessed, and I have been into politics since probably 1971. That would have put me at 9 years old. I remember sitting in front of the TV set watching Walter Cronkite do world news, and they were flying in the bodies from the Vietnam War. And they would land, and they would be draped in flags. They would carry the bodies off the huge aircraft. And I was only 9 years old, 8 years old. Been into this kind of stuff since that time. I've been watching this a long, long time. This one is different. This this election is crucial. It is crucial. And as I was thinking about this, I started thinking to myself about reparations. And then I started asking myself, why would the American political body, elect, the electorate, decide that it is okay to not make right what must be made right? We're not going to stay on reparations because right now that's kind of secondary, but not secondary. But there is a reason in the body politic as to why reparations are resisted. And it ain't what you think. It ain't what you think. Not at all. I would say that it's something far more simpler. It's just that we don't want to speak of these things because in America, as decadent, degraded as it is, some things are still taboo. We may breach that wall tonight, and maybe not. You know, this uproar about Peanut the squirrel, it is about the squirrel. I'm an animal lover. Shoot my squirrel, and I can tell you I'm going to be awfully damn upset. Plus, he was 7 years old. 7? Man, you have damn near just murdered a godly sign. In my eyes, I'm telling you. So I'm glad I don't have a squirrel that I've had for 7 years. 7. Whoa, no, man. That one, it just sends chills up my spine. I can only imagine how I would feel, what it would make me feel, especially after I've received the call that he's been euthanized. Euthanized. Whoa. All I can say is whoa. At any rate, it's not, secondarily, it's not about the squirrel, as you would say. It is, but it's not. It gives you insight as to the mindset and the policies of your government agencies under the current regime. They would not like me calling them a regime, but at this point in time, it sort of acts like a regime. It seeks no one's approval. In fact, it will act as it wants to, whether the body politic approve of it or not, seemingly impervious to the will of the people as we speak. As we speak, it's about government overreach. Overreach. And how much money and time was put into this endeavor, and why was it done? I said before that I said before that we have the generation now, a couple of generations, who honestly believe that whatever position in which they work in, that position can and should be utilized as an extension of themselves. That means how they feel and their agendas, their political bents, etc., etc., etc. So when you have people like this, and you do by the bundles, by the bundles, okay, you do, and they're all throughout government. That's a fact. This is how they feel. It was spoke on as it was happening, and it happened anyway. It's one of these situations. Well, let me give you an example. When cell phones first came out, businesses did not want cell phones in their business if you are the employee. Now, look, that generation, the millennial generation, and their parents, some of them senators and congressmen and mayors and so on, and governors and so on and so forth, forced cell phones to the point that now they're everywhere you go. Even though the corporations or the bosses at the time said, I don't want that in my business. Leave it in the car. Leave it in the car. The arguments were many, but two stands out. Well, what if something happened inside of the building? Well, we lived in America for 400 plus years without cell phones in the buildings, and folks went postal every now and then. Didn't stop them from freaking. They still went postal, whether you had cell phones or not. You could wake up in 1984 and turn on the news, and the mailman and the mailman that went postal, and he done killed everybody on the dock, everybody in the building, and he may shoot himself. Okay, cell phones did not stop any of the mass shootings either. They still happened. So what was really going on? You see, the other argument was, what about my children calling? Now, this was the secondary argument, is that some of us are parents. We're parents, and we just need these cell phones because my kids are this, or their kids are at practice, or their kids are home alone. But the boss said, we got along for 400 years under those very same situations. Well, a couple of lawsuits later, and some political push, and then the blowback, and then the pushback, and now cell phones everywhere, all up in everybody's business, all up in everybody's business. They are dangerous. History will show. History will show. I promise you this, that the evolution of man was forever altered by a device, a cell phone, forever altered and irredeemable, irretrievable. So, irretrievably so. That's what history will show, if it's being honest. Everything changed. You never see, if this was a pristine society, a moral society, it would have went differently. But it's not. It's not. It never was. Maybe it can be. It depends on what we got to do with the bad people. And the choice is theirs. But it's never been, America has never had a puritanical moment. It may say that it has, but no, it hasn't. You can be puritanical in the midst of land grabbing and slaughter and maiming and civil war and revolution and rebellion. It's kind of hard to be puritanical under such conditions. it is a lie if they say otherwise. Nary a day has passed in this country where somebody somewhere wasn't being murdered. That's a fact. Not one day. America is filled with the bones of its own dead. America is filled with the bones of its own murdered. Okay? All across this land. All across this land. But back to government oversight and overreach. Excuse me. Overreach. This is overreach. But it is because of the generational differences that's causing the uproar. Some of it regional. People who live or was raised in small towns or in subdivisions like suburbs, old school suburbs, they're gonna have a different attitude. Because see, I was raised as a damn country boy around pigs and cows and there was wild animals around. Armadillo, raccoon, rabbit, squirrel, horned lizard. I mean, everything had the possibility of becoming a damn pet and being kept in hell at least a year. I mean, until somebody grown told us, you have to let that thing go. Take him out there and let him go. Okay? We had gave them names. They would come to us. And then you walk up and you decide that he's acting funny. He may have rabies. We're going to have to confiscate that animal and probably that one. That one walking sideways too. He's not walking sideways. But think about it. It's government overreach, people. And I think the American people have had enough government overreach. They've had policy after policy after policy for every bit of 12 years shoved down their throat, whether they wanted it or not. Even as I speak, it is happening, i.e. Gaza, i.e. the Middle East. The vast majority of Americans are tired of that war. Didn't want nothing at all to even do with it. Yet, there you are. Ukraine. Here's another one. Over 50% want nothing to do with that war. And there you are. Supporting to the tune of billions upon billions of dollars. Billions upon billions of dollars. And newsflash, you already have boots on the ground in some capacity or the other in both theaters as I speak. They lie if they say otherwise. They lie. They already are in both theaters. It's a bad sign. It's a bad omen. I keep telling you, this country has mission creep. It has mission creep. American soldiers have already died in the Middle East on the ground. On the ground. But they tell you that this is not happening. It's happening. They don't even feel like they should have to consult you. This is what happens when you let the government gain more and more and more power. More and more and more power. Be it in the Congress or the Senate or the Oval Office. I've never seen any power gained by the Oval Office by a former president given back by the next president. That power remains in that office. They never give it back, whether they talk shit earlier before they became president or not. So over the years, these offices has gathered more and more power, more and more power. At this point, to the point of them believing that they rule you, not work for you, rule you, tell you what to do in a representative democracy. Oh, or is it? Now I keep saying it's not a democracy. I say that at this point it's barely a functioning republic. Barely. It's barely a functioning republic. I mean, it's on life support. It's on life support. Foreign policy, off the rails. Off the rails. Crime, off the rails. Immigration and crime and that mixture thereof and the hatred that it's causing between residents and citizens, off the rails. All due to policy. All due to policy. Corporations get richer and richer and richer, and the top 5% get richer and richer and richer. The corporate profits year over year has went up every year since COVID. Every year since COVID. Again, when you have people who are entitled and feel like they deserve to be anything or have anything, the operative word is I deserve and entitled, and they get in power, you're going to have trouble. You're going to have trouble. This is the generation, I'm about to call them by name, who brought out terms like get the bag, money over people. They were saying it out loud. This is in their 20s. This is in their 20s. They're in their 50s now, give or take. But this is how they were talking. They meant that shit. Money over people. And you ask yourself how you got here. How you got here. I don't endorse either candidate for obvious reasons. For obvious reasons. Okay? I just shouldn't do it. That's all. This is a choice for you to make. This is a choice for you to make. But I can tell you this. Whatever choice that you make, it would be significant changes in how this country operates and how this country functions, how this country feels, and what it becomes, and what God and his place in it and what he does. I can guarantee you that fact. This is crucial. This could be the difference between World War III and not World War III. I'm sure that both parties at this point know God's position. I'm sure they know. Both parties, from top to bottom. They're not confused. They are not confused by our positions. Not at all. Not at all. They also know that we won't be budging from our positions. Not because we don't necessarily want to, but we can't. We can't. There's no way in the book or the scripture that it say that we back down from where we stand. We stand where we stand. This is where we draw the line. This is where we stand. This is where we fight. This is where we die. That's the reality. That is the reality. Can't change that. No one can. I hate to say, but you make it, but you, it's sad, but I feel justified in making these types of statements because the church has violated itself and the government has violated the church. And the church has played an integral part in the politics of government, which they had no place. So because they have violated, I feel no more obligation to respect them as a church at all, at all. So I may say some of anything when it comes to the church because they violated their own rules and they wanted to be a part of government. Again, this reverts back to a certain generation who wanted these things. Like I want to be pastor, even though God, I said I wasn't going to do this, so I won't. Redaction, please. A little better, a little bit of redacting, and they'll feel better. However, this is crucial, people. This is crucial. This is the difference living in a country based on right and wrong and morality, good, love thy neighbor, know thy neighbor, make sure everyone is taken care of, harmony, or whatever is worth if it's still possible. What semblance peace that is retrievable in a country that lost its mind, quite frankly, lost its mind. I said about 5 years ago, 4 years ago, whenever you see any species, whenever we see any species that starts to exhibit behavior that's harmful to itself, it is a dead giveaway that something is wrong because God did not design it like that. Something's wrong. Be it spiritual, be it political, be it psychological, be it alcohol, or be it dope. Something isn't right. Well, America has lost seemingly its sense of self-preservation, which is the first rule of existence and survival, self-preservation. So when you see countries start to do things that fundamentally harm it, when the government starts to make decisions that fundamentally harm it, then something's wrong. Just as it would be if you observe this exact same behavior in any species. Something's wrong. Maybe drinking a little bit too much. Maybe a little bit too much of the white, maybe, or the gray white, or the cold black. You know what I'm saying. Either way, I mean, senility or bad leadership, whatever it may be, it doesn't really matter. My point is when you see a country by policy start to do things to harm itself and its citizens as if it no longer cares, then there's probably something wrong. If it was a species, I would say an illness or dope or mental illness or environmental factors. See? But are no environment. Well, there are environmental factors. Well, right now, there are environmental factors. There is a spiritual aspect to this. And if we go into talking about the spiritual aspect of it, then I would think of that as being an environmental factor. In fact, I'm sure it is an environmental factor. Man, factor, that's a double negative. I hate when that happens. Gotta brush up the word skill there. avoid those types of situations. They don't sound good on the audio. At any rate, there's something wrong here. Been something wrong here. We can choose, and by we I mean you, because see, I have my limits. There's only so far I can go into your business affairs. This is your business affair. Who you elect is your business affair. That's why I don't endorse one or the other. I say what I what I will about one or the other. That's just the end of it. You will never know if I support one or the other because that would be undue influence. We're not out to influence, especially unduly. No, we gonna we gonna play listen by the books. You have a choice to make. I won't even be ugly about it. I mean, normally I would be saying on the one side is this and on the one side is this. But no, even that would be off limits right now. That would be off limits by my own standard. That would be off limits. We're not going to do that either. Just understand the choice that you make tomorrow will shape everything. It will shape the futures of your children. It will shape what happens to America physically. It will shape, man, so much. It will, it will shape for the next 10 years of this country comes. In a nutshell, whether we want to hear it or not, will it be one of belief, faith in God and goodwill, or will it be one of, see what I'm saying? I just said all this good stuff here, so I, I have trapped myself again. I trapped myself again. Inevitably, I have to say almost what sounds negative about the other, which I don't want to do. So I'll wrap this up with this. They don't believe what we believe. And because of that, that gives them certain rights and privileges and benefits in and of itself. One of these is they don't feel what we feel. We feel shame, embarrassment, things like that. Well, they don't feel that. That is a benefit. And because of that benefit alone, they will do things to the other that the other would never dream of doing to them. That too is just a fact. Which brings me back to the squirrel. Right back to Peanut. Peanut should be alive. So someone was upset over a FYI page. I mean, a for you only page. Yeah, a for you only page. I've never went to one, but I thought it was all about sex anyway. But this for you page was about a jumping happy ass squirrel, happy to be alive 7 years. You do know they rarely reach 7 years in the wild, right? They did him a favor. He have to dodge cats, hawks, eagles, cars, little kids with BB guns, and some feral ass other people that eat squirrel. He wasn't gonna last 5 years. Anyway, anyway, overreach. But it's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. They felt absolutely nothing doing it. They knew full well they were taking away their source of income. They knew that they did not necessarily do any of that. Their personal feelings, I'm telling you now, because this is of that generation. I don't care if they like it or not. It's too crucial right now. I never thought I would favor. Hot damn. It's scary, man. Man, this is so scary. Anyway, I thought that we were so done with the generation above me. I thought that we were so done with my generation. But yet here we are. Here we are. Because the generations after them apparently cannot handle it. They want to force their worldview. Force it. I mean, force it. Not only that, in this forcing of things, they have broken many laws because they don't believe in the law like that. They don't. They do not. The law is a hindrance. In fact, not just the law, but anything that is structural. They cannot live within structure. They can't live within boundaries. That forces them to go secret and sneaky and underhanded and to form cliques and groups and so on and so forth. And before you know it, they find each other and they're hiring each other and they bringing each other in, like-minded people, over decades and decades and decades. And then look what is left of America. Look what is left of America. You have to understand that people come here from all parts of the world. Some of these other people come from impoverished lands. Others come from Eastern Bloc of the countries where fundamentally they Eastern Bloc mean white people with no rights. Okay, so fundamentally, so when you hear me use terms like Eastern Bloc European countries, what I'm really saying, for the purposes of this argument, is white people from white lands, from white cultures, where they don't have no rights. Eastern Bloc. Okay? They didn't have rights then and they don't have them rights now. So if they don't have those rights there and they immigrate here, they have the mindset and the psychological bent and the emotional makeup of what they have been cultured to believe and to be. What happens when they come over here, teach it to their children, and then their children become senators, congressmen? Now, I know a lot of people don't like me saying this, so we'll have to get off the subject. It's too late. I already said it. I can't take that one. Nope, not taking that one back. That's a fact. That's a fact. Now, which led me to thinking, one of the reasons is that we have this large ass number of Americans against reparations is because of the makeup of the American body politic. Caught you. Figured it out. What you thought? I just sit out in this fucking smoking the joint and just relax and listen to good music? No, I never stop thinking. I'm always analyzing. I'm always on it. Always on it. However, what I'm trying to say is, if you have imported, and excuse the word import, I don't mean to asperse or insult the migrant population. Okay, we won't use import. Those who, oh no, import is easier. No fancy words. No big. It would two, three big fancy words to just say the word import. But that's such a negative. Anyway, it's already said too. Don't be offended. You bring in this many people from disparate backgrounds, disparate cultures, disparate histories. You ain't, what do you think is going to occur? A melting pot? The no, the cell phone ended all of that. The cell phone ended the whole idea of melting pot. Okay? There is no more melting pot. They are retaining their belief systems and their languages and their cultures. Okay? In America. That's not necessarily wrong or right. I'm just saying that from a sociological point of view, what what is its influence on the body politic? What is its influence? There is influence. Second generation vote. There's influence. Third generation, I might be senator, a congressman, a mayor, a legislature of a state. You see what I'm saying? I still have these latent cultural aspects of my parents. You see where I'm kind of going with all this vis-a-vis reparations? So we shall be dealing with that problem there, head on, by the way, head on. We got it. We always got stuff. Once we figure out what the issue is, we can deal with the issue. Now we can deal with the issue. Because what I'm trying to say is that it's not the offspring of the progeny of the original slave owners that offer so much resistance, especially from our side of the spectrum. I know the God-fearing white folk, they know they owe you money, period. Ain't gonna be by the millions of them. So you don't have no argument out of them. So what we left with? These another way of you looking at it, or another aspect, is you're not dealing with their children either. You're not dealing with the children and the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren of the slave owners. At best, they would make up 50% of the people who should be making any kind of decision vis-a-vis reparations. Yet you add another 50% over 30 years of immigration, and they think that they have something to say about immigration, such as, well, we weren't even here. We don't have nothing to do with that. You see what I'm saying? And they be right, because if they don't understand that when you come here, you take on America's debt. Reparations are a debt, not something that you are giving. America owes the money as a government, whether it likes it or not. But that's not what we're talking about. We show a long ways from government overreach, ain't? Government overreach allowed the Democratic Party, redact that, redaction, please. Redaction, call in the man with the black marker. Okay. The powers that be brought you gentrification. City after city after city after city, creating homelessness. Harris County alone, man, I guarantee you they were evicting 300 people per week or every 2 weeks. And they couldn't wait to do it. Trust me, these people have connections to this landlord and this landlord. Man, I'm talking about the judges. Again, but we're not going to get into that. That's too local. We can deal with local stuff. They've been warned. You did get the warning, right? You did get the warning. Let's hope they got the warning. But federally, this is crucial, people. Will you be a country of faith? Because if you're not going to be that, I can guarantee you war. I mean, good versus evil war. It's only going to pick up steam, too. They will never be ruled by what they know now. Okay? They won't be ruled by what they know now, and they know a lot. They know a lot. They know that this country is run by a cult. They know that this the country is basically devilish by governmental action, no doubt. They know that this government has hid things, has lied. They know that it's 300 to 400,000 children missing from coming across the border, poof, into thin air. They know that they found babies inside of shipping containers and no one goes to jail, poof, like that. They also know that the fallout from that dude and his list of people and that other dude and his list of people that's leading the other folks are into things like baby drinking, pedophilia, ritualistic sex, it's overall darkness. But this is America. I'm gonna keep this is America until you get caught. It's gonna still be freaking America when you get caught. But I'm just saying, see, when you think that you have these types of rights, even when it is deviant from the rest of society, if you get power, you're gonna do it anyway. You're gonna force it down the rest of the population's throat, which is why they made a fatal mistake. Fatal. Fatal. In terms of you're almost guaranteed war now. There ain't no more negotiating with you. Ain't no more compromising with you. It can't be done. It simply can't be done. It's one or the other. Period. Us coming together, well, let's just say that we have irreconcilable differences. Period. Period. The left wants what it wants, and the right wants what it wants, and the Jesus freaks, they want what they want. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, this one will be one for the books. If we make it out of this one alive, if we make it out of this one alive, wow, it'll be one for the books. We will be talking about this for years. Well, hell, even if we don't make it out of here alive, this is one for the books. Because you have no idea how close we are to things just getting ugly. If America gets ugly with itself, then we get ugly with America. Now that's my own personal position vis-a-vis God and me in my freaking position. America ugly with itself, started tripping and shooting each other, breaking down along factional lines, any faction. I wouldn't give a damn what faction, then we will be what we were designed to be. That's a fact. That's a fact. You'll only be allowed to go for so long, so loud before other things step in. Us. And it'll be ugly. It will be ugly. There'll be no holds barred and no mercy, no understanding. Let's try not to do that. Choose. Gentlemen, ladies, choose. Either way, you may not avert war. This one is scary. Either way, you may or may not avert war uh, amongst yourselves. But even that's fair up to a limit. It get too out of hand and it devolve into cultural clashes and tribalism, and us knowing what that means for us, then that means that we gotta intervene and start doing things upon this planet that we otherwise wouldn't necessarily do, like further choose sides. And this is your decision. Hopefully you can do it peacefully and not kill each other by Friday. With that, enjoy the rest of your evening. I am Source. We are 7.